Here is the fighting area. You can get hunting cabin. Hunting cabin will get you leather. You can then use, these are multiple like stages, which I will explain later as well. Hunting cabin produces leather, which can be used to create like armor and stuff in the armory. It requires leather and board. As you can see right here, it says uses leather and board, produces armor. Then you can get smithery, armor and metal, which produce plate armor. So these are upgraded armor. Initially you have just leather, then you get armor, plate armor, gilded armor, energized armor, tech armor, and these are barracks. By the way, these last three, they are like actively used at the same time, because you want to like, you don't want to have like the same armor for every single position. Obviously, like just energized armor would be good for one specific type of troop. Gilded armor is better for one troop. Tech armor is better for one troop. Different uses different things. Like this one uses machine and armor, this one uses crystal and armor, this one uses ornament and armor, whatever. Crystal things are very difficult to make. I will explain later why. Even though they are like unlocked early on, they take way too much time. That's where the paid element of this game will come, which is not necessarily something you need to do. Here's the music. This is barracks. Once you build a barrack, it will increase your like amount of people you can build at the same time. As you can see, it says unit queue limit by 1. Let's say you can build like 5 troops at the same time. Now you can build like 1 more. I believe right now I can build like 39-40 troops at the same time, because I've unlocked all the barracks and whatnot. Army cap by 5%. Initially you do not have 400 people. I think initially you have like 150 or like 200 or something like that, and slowly you build up these barracks and the amount increases by 5 every single time as you move along, or something like that. Then we enter the harbor for the navy. You have to build the harbor initially, where the boats will be docked before you can build anything else. You increase the dock, which will increase the amount of like troops you can build in the boats area. Then you have sail maker. These make like basic bitch sails are used to make a specific type of boat. And you can get the cannon foundry, which is, as you can see, the name obviously would suggest, it would make big boats which shoot like cannon fire. These ones shoot like arrows and whatnot, so they're not that strong. And after that, like fighter assembly, these are, which is amazing, believe it or not, because this game kinda is you know, set up in medieval times. But despite that, the fighter assembly basically allows you to have a aircraft carrier, which like have like fighter jets going off of it, which is kind of weird and out of place for this game, but whatever. And then this area, this is like palace. Once you unlock a palace, basically it increases everything by 25%. As you can see, house, villa, mansion, these things. Initially they were not allowed to like 250. I think there was 100 or something. There was the limit on them. And as you unlock these castles, you obviously get more and more of these houses, villa, and everything else. As you know, so you can build more and get more people. You definitely want as much population as you can have, because more population is always good in this game, which I'll explain why later. These things you also want to make up in the like early game, because these are monument queues, because you don't want to like basically it allows you to like set up what the next upgrade is going to be, what the next thing you're going to build. So like at the start of the game you can build like one house, then you have to wait like 10-20 seconds. By when it finishes, then you press build again, and then it builds again. If you just have like bunch of these unlocked, you can set up like 8 or 9 at the same time and just like go off and do your thing by the time this builds it, and like minimize this and like play whatever else you want to play by the time it builds that stuff. Great stuff again. After that are the bathhouses. These give culture, which I'll explain later. They're for upgrades. Then you give spirals, which also give culture, but spirals are important because they allow you for rank promotion. The troops are not like bound to a rank. Oh, sorry, the meter peaked for a second, the audio. Anyway, the troops are not bound by a rank, because obviously you have like, if you can have 400 out of 400 troops, but they're not going to be that strong unless you upgrade the troops themselves. So you can get this. This increases the amount of pyramids, increases the amount of barracks, which you can use for more troops. This is for upgraded troops. These are oracle, which give culture, which is again for upgrades, which I'll show you later. This is some stuff which is also I'm going to show later. This wouldn't make any sense right now. And every single one of these will have a very similar layout, but they will have different things. As you can see, instead of having the flour, and the flour bakery is here, but there's no fishery here. Instead there's hops and farms for brewery. In this one you will have vineyard for winery, and the cocoa plants for chocolates. There's like, this one has fishery, this one has paint mill, fiber farm, and you can print books here, because happiness also comes from books, not just like food. Here you can build like coats and stuff. On this world you can build like petroleum and stuff, you get lamps and stuff. On this one you get like bottled water and stuff like that. So basically that's what increases your happiness. If you move on to the other ones, you will get unlock different stuff like furnaces, glass makers. On this one, what do we have? A gold smelter, artisan shop, which is required for armor and stuff. Tool workshop, marble plant. This is the same stuff after that. What else do we have? Spring manufacturer, machinery. This is a bug, by the way. I don't know why. It should be one. So you require 268 springs for 134 machinery, but I don't know why the developers set this to 267 instead of 268, which makes it so if you have all equipment running and you're constantly using machinery stuff, you will always have like one machinery short. So it'll say like in 300 days you will run out of machine parts, spring parts, which makes no sense to you right now, but it's really important stuff. Anyway, there's the power plant. You use coal to produce power, which will go into these things, factories. Everything else is same. When you go into in this area, this is the same. This time repeats the stuff, marble workshop and stuff like that. And we have glass, spring again, machinery again. We got artisan, gold again. Here's the hydropower plant. Hydropower plant allows you to produce energy without coal, which makes it fun because usually you have to like have a bunch of people collect coal for the coal power plant. If you just have hydropower plant, you don't actually have to have anyone picking up the coal, which like saves you a bunch of workers, which you can assign them to other stuff. And there's the aluminum smelter and aluminum cast house, which also require power, so you have to be wary of that. Evergarden is something that you just unlock in the middle of the story, and it's nothing too much difficult. It's basically like what do you want to have in here. That's a weird sentence. Why did I say it like that? Basically, you build plots, you build wells on top of plots, so you can build more plots, and then you just you plant these specific type of flowers and stuff in here, which will allow you to increase the happiness because you require these flowers or some stuff. I believe like this nectar flower is required for the chocolate factory or whatnot. So you want to get these as well. This is like something interesting. These are black cherry trees, sage plants. You require these for very specific like missions. I had a bunch of these, but I destroyed them all later on because there was no need for them to be around, and I wanted the plot to plant more of these. Bright bloom and what is it called? Shade bloom. Wait, how much do I plot? All my plot is used. Why does it say that I can plant more? I guess I only have one more plot available or something like that. I don't remember how much plot I have on this land. So I could plant one. I don't know what that's going to do. But regardless, you can plant stuff on this, and you will require these for the super well and stuff that I showed you before, which I'm still not going to explain, and I'll explain them later. Now let's move on to this tab. Here are the materials. Basically everything here on this side is this is the stuff that your gatherers collect. And the other stuff is what you have, and which is going to be built by your very specific things. Like for example, wood. I have 1490 people collecting wood, so they will collect wood and they fill up this meter, which is 608 because I have a bunch of storages. And then you go into here, which is my lumber mill. My lumber mill will break these down into boards, and as you can see, factory is providing plus 30 as well, so basically half of that. So factory is definitely very important. So the thing is, the way you want to manage workers is you definitely want to check the numbers. You want to calculate the numbers, which is very important, because you if you don't have enough workers, and let's say you have the lumber mill running at full capacity, so you definitely need more workers. As you can see, you require for one lumber mill requires 2 wood. So if you have 600 lumber mill running, you definitely need to collect 1200 wood at the same time. But if you don't have enough workers, then this will go into negative and your storage will start to deplete, and eventually the board making will stop, which is not good. You also want to take a look at these plus and minuses, like plus 60 from lumber mill, plus 30 from factory, plus 20 from upgrades, and plus 54 from happiness. So you get a bunch of pluses, and then there's negative from the armory and the sail maker. They're not actually going right now. They're like you know, blanked out, grayed out. That's because every single one of my meter is pretty much full at the moment, so they're not being used up. And as you can see, you're a bunch of shit other than that. You get stone, you can make bricks, iron, you make metal, sand, glass, There's gold ore. As you can see, there's a longer. You gold ore, then you get the gold ore to the smelter, gold smelter, and then you get it to the artisan. There's the slime, and you get the tools, and then you get marble. This is like machine, spring, titanium, aluminium, liquid aluminium, aluminium ore. Here's the power plant, and here's the coal production. So these people collect coal. In return, you get 40 from the coal power plants, and you get 200 from the hydro power plants. And aluminum smelter is not running at the moment, but usually the aluminum smelter will take up 200 power. Factory would take up 40 power, so it basically negates each other out. There's no extra energy being produced. This thing I wasn't going to show you. This is the crystal. You get plus 20 from upgrades, negative 20 from infusory. Other than that, there's another way to get these crystals, which is these things: the light resin, the bright bloom, and the shade bloom, which I showed you that I was planting before. It's right here. These things. These are planted here, which will eventually run the super well and the wells, which will increase this. As you can see, 78.33 from super well. They give out every now and then. They're nothing too fun, but they give out every now and then. But most of the time it's negated from my upgrades and infusory. But infusory not running at the moment, obviously, because it's full.